And I think you got it pretty well ironed out, but I would leave it alone. I mean, if the water supply still keeps going up, you might have the town come back wanting to charge you for fire service, for example, which I don't believe they do now, do they? I mean, extra. So I think we really hashed this out about 7 years ago, so I'd be very careful about getting into this again. I'm speaking as a delegate, also as a selectman.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying is.
Thanks for the disclaimer.
We should know.
Representative, Commissioner Swenson.
About the same time, 7 or 8 years ago, this delegation wanted us to get out of supplying water to the residents down there. We tried to do that and we couldn't legally. Somewhere way, way, way back in time, we committed ourselves to supplying them with water. We tried to get them to put in their own wells. Well, the salt shed down there has polluted the wells, and so they need to have town or county water. But we couldn't get out of it.
We are getting behind on time here on the schedule quite a little bit, but are there any other items that you have?
Quickly on the sewer.
Sure, right.
The sewer is the only one that I've had of the budgets that has increased, and just to give a quick explanation of why that has increased. You'll see if you go down to the bottom, 097, which is new equipment.
Page 14.
Page 14.
We've increased from $1,000 to $7,500. Reason being is for one piece of equipment. To give a quick explanation of our sewer system, when we use the bathrooms in this building, for example, it's all going to go down to what we call the grinder building. In that building, all the sewage from the whole complex comes into there, and there's these grinders in there that actually grind up things as it goes into a series of tanks and clarifiers and pumps and so on and so forth before our water is discharged throughout our plant. In this building, which we call the grinder building, there's the grinder, there's an auger, and as, say, you flush down a ketchup packet up here, it's going to end up, and it's going to down there, and it's going to end up in this auger, and we have to change this trash out several times a week. This building has many explosive gases that could come out from the different, this is raw sewage that we're talking about that goes in here. So there's a heater in this building, and this building has to be explosion proof and all those, needs to meet all those criteria to be into this building. This heater went bad on us last winter, probably, I can't even remember, I want to say February, March time period. It just stopped on us. In cold weather we went out and a bunch of this water had froze up. Well, when it froze up, it broke a lot of things, obviously, like you would in your house. And as we replaced them, and we got the system, we got it all thawed out, got the heater, we had an electrician come in, and he looked at it, tried to order the parts, and so on and so forth. The heater's outdated. The system was put in somewhere around 2001 or 2003, I would believe, and it was outdated, so we need to replace the heater. Basically, what he was able to do at the time, in simple terms, is he was able to hotwire, is how he explained it basically to me, to keep it working. If it overheats, then it will shut out and we won't be able to fix the heater. So we had to replace those parts that froze up. Well, it's one of those things where the parts freeze up, you don't know exactly what froze up when you undo it, so you say, okay, this part broke, we replace that, we get the system going again, oh geez, there's another broken part, and this went through probably to the tune of $2,000 to $3,000 off the top of my head of replacing these parts. We need to replace this heater. Right now we're working on borrowed time, so we can either let that thing go out and freeze up and replace all those parts again, or we can go ahead and make the investment and put the new heater in. And so I asked the electrician to give me just a rough ballpark. It's obviously going to be over $5,000. It's obviously going to have to be bidded out and decided on by the commissioners through the bids. But this gives us a ballpark figure of a non-exploding type of heater that I got. And that's why I asked for that amount of money. This would include the installation of that from this gentleman. So we have a ballpark to start. When we get the budget process through, we can go ahead and try to bid that out and find out what a true cost is going to be for us.
Representative McCarthy, and then...
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, on the...
Will.
Yeah, Will.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Wrong department.
Well, on the parts that you had to replace last year, where did you find that money? The $3,000 that you spent for parts, because under new equipment, it doesn't show there. It shows you spent no money. So where did you find the $3,000?
I would have put it under 081, which is maintenance and repair,
Yep.
because it was a repair, so I would have put it under that category.
Okay, so you expensed it there. Thank you.
A detailed would confirm that, but that's where I would.
Okay.
Let me see, Representative Babson and then Representative Umberger.
Thank you, Madam Mr. Chairman. You know, something strikes me very wrong here. We have a piece of equipment that's expensive and it breaks and the pipes freeze and we have to take all this time to the cost of repairing, buying the new stuff to put in, the labor, and yet we sit around and wait for a year, waiting for the same thing to happen again. Unfortunately, we haven't had a cold winter. Don't we have a system within the county that when you need an emergency purchase, that's gonna save you money in the long run that you can't do?
It's going to happen after the budget was approved last year, wasn't it?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Well, we're shuffling money around here like we're playing in an old-time shuffleboard game. Why can't you shuffle $7,500 into this thing so that we don't have to end up spending $1,400 this year? I just don't understand it.
Commissioner Sorensen, did you have a comment about that?
I think that heater went bad after our budget was approved last year.
So, we've moved money before, but that's okay.
Representative Umberger first.
Yes. I don't know what the electrical usage is on this particular heater. But sometimes, if you can reduce your electrical requirements because of new and improved equipment, I don't know if you're PSNH or who, but if you can show a significant savings on
Get a credit.
electrical costs, they will give you some credits. So I don't know whether it's something that will occur or not, but certainly we need to explore it.
There is we do have a backup generator too for that, I suppose, isn't that correct, for the electric there?
We're hooked into the generator for the old nursing home.
Okay.
That's what the sewer system is hooked into for backup power.
Okay, good, thank you. Yes, Representative McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for general knowledge, particularly for the department heads and the commissioners, there is a stipulation in the reserved statutes annotated that allows for an emergency expenditure of funds. And all it takes, doesn't take the commissioner, a commissioner can come before the delegation, or a department head can come before the delegation and request an emergency expenditure of funds. It takes one meeting to have an open meeting to the public. After that meeting, unless somebody in the public totally disagrees for some reason, that the permission for the expenditure of those funds can be made. It takes only 1 week, and it is in the RSA. So anytime you need something like that, remember, you have an out. And I might add that is the procedure that should have been followed to purchase the truck and the plow and the rest of it, and to make the repairs to the jail. It should have been done under an emergency expenditure, and not just moving funds around from one place to another.
Yes, Representative Umberger.
Yeah, I do have, this is more of a comment, but Will indicated that the backup power source for the sewer system is the generator at the old nursing home. This kind of caught me significantly off guard, because now I assume we have 2 generators one at the new nursing home and one at the old nursing home.
Yep.
We have
And-
400.
And so I guess it's just something that I had no clue about. And I agree that we need a backup generator for the sewer. And someone I heard mention that it was also tied into the jail. But
No.
the jail has their own.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, I guess that we probably should look at a smaller generator.
Representative McConkey.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will, we spoke a moment ago about the vehicle for the water department, and that we were in our last year of expensing that. What vehicle are we using for the sewer department? Is it one and the same?
Yes, sir, as I explained, that $2,500, if you notice, you go through all 4 of the budgets that I run, it's spread out to all 4, because at the time, that's the only vehicle we had, and we use it for all 4 departments.
So it's $10,000,
Yes, sir.
all 4 vehicles, all 4, thank you.
If I could explain the generators, we have a generator at the jail that takes care of the jail. We have a generator at the old nursing home that's tied into the old nursing home. When it was functioning, that was the emergency generator for the old nursing home. Also, in that electrical room, it goes from there down to the sewer treatment plant. For emergency, should the power go out, that generator supplies it. Now, why was that done? Because the generator at the new jail wasn't sized sufficiently to take care of the sewer, which is within 200 feet of the generator. Okay. And we have a generator for this building, and we have a generator for the new nursing home.
Any other questions on the sewer budget? Yes, Representative Pettingill.
Thank you, Will. Just the labor costs on both this and the other that we just reviewed, are those external costs? Are they costs from outside in?
No, ma'am. That's, again, that's, if I go down to, or any of my employees go down, there's 2 of us that are licensed in the sewer, go down to do any kind of work down there, pull pump, such
You
as
have a
that.
per hour rate.
We have a per hour rate, and that money gets credited towards the farm.
Okay.
Other questions? We do need to move along. We're just about an hour and 20 minutes over.
We're having fun.
Not doing bad.
If not, I think we'll thank you, Will, and
Thank you.
you've covered all your areas. Thank you very much. I think let's take about an 8-minute break. Let's come back at 11 o'clock.
And then we'll recommence talking to Will. Have the blueberry bushes matured?
No.
Oh.
We had that.
Anyone know who belongs to this? Maybe someone had already left, I don't know.
Your gloves aren't attached to that, are they, Mr. Chairman?
No, I'd like to find my gloves. No, I just...
It's not his color.
Thank you very much.
It's quite nice though.
Okay, then let's go on to the jail. And Jason, yes.
Good morning, Representatives.
Morning.
The increase that you'll see, the adopted budget for last year, $3,163,000. The requested budget for this year is $3,317,000. A couple of reasons for the request for the increase. Looking to put on 2 new correctional officers and 1 full-time LPN for the medical staff.
LNA.
LNA. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's an LPN, sir. LNA is...
It's an LPN?
Yeah, it's an LPN.
I mean,
No.
It's not an IRN, it's an
LPN.
LPN. So that's going to make up a portion of the increase in the budget. not sure if you just,
Yeah, they do.
in a essence of time, if you have any questions regarding certain line items, I'd be happy to answer them.
I know we discussed earlier the additional LPN. Does anybody have any questions about that? The big issues, I think, would be the one LPN and the 2 corrections officers. So, Representative McCarthy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you look at line 6100-013, retirement expense, I questioned that, and I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman, the chairman of the Board of Commissioners did some checking for me, and I think we saved about $50,000 there. Instead of the 200, it was a $77,000 increase. And type 2, or whatever they call them, retirees are supposed to go up 5%. Well, they went up about 48%, and that's why I asked them to recheck it. And I got, the figure I got back from the chair of the commission was, it was around 26,000 rather than 77,000.
It was 20% increase in Group 2 retirement. Plus, we had new people that were on probation. When they come off probation, that adds to it. So these figures should be correct. It was a 20% increase,
So the figure we're looking at...
19 something. And that was established at the state level, I believe.
Okay, so what should the total for that line be?
248,092.
That's correct, that's what we have.
That's not what I understood, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
It's
I know they had the
$70,000.
increase was 77,000, and then you told me it was only 20-some odd thousand, and there was gonna be a savings of approximately $50,000, but yet you still have the same figure here
Yep.
that you had originally.
Okay, it was a $70,239 increase in that particular item. And that accounted for a 20% increase from what it had been. It was passed by the state, Group 2. Plus, the other people that were on probation that would come on to that Group 2 added up to that 70,000.
Representative.
Yeah, what was the rate change? It went from 9.8 employer to what?
If I can
Go ahead.
comment, Commissioner. For Group 2, ma'am, our contributions we were calculating them at 14%. It's now at 19%.
So it went from 9.8 to 19, is that correct?
That's I think you're commenting about the Group 1%.
No, I'm talking about the Group 1% went down.
Went down.
But I want to know what the I just don't remember off the top of my head.
We calculate for the, to get to the figure, you calculate the salary times .1995. And it was, last year it was calculated at salary times .1465 maybe.
So it went from 14 to 19?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I couldn't remember what the number was.
Follow up, sir?
That doesn't
Yes,
sound
go
right.
Even if it goes up 20%, according to the state, it's supposed to go up 5%, but even if you say it's going up 20%, that's 35,400 from the adopted budget. If you add 35 to last year's budget,
35.
35.4 to last year's budget, you still come up with 212, but yet you've got 248 down here, so I'm still confused.
I can get Kathy to redo it, but that's what she told me.
Okay, I would suggest then that that's what she,
Okay.
if we can get that information today,
Yep.
that would be good. Preferably today rather than next week, if we can do that. Thank you. Yes, Representative Albany.
Just a quick comment. I think we're just having a little problem with the percentages. The percentage is going up 5% from 15% to 20%, okay, of the contribution. But that's a 5% increase over 15%, which is a 33% increase over 15%. So the amount that you increase, the amount that you would multiply of this 177,000 would be another 1/3, not just 5%. That's why it's 248 instead of 212.
I didn't multiply it by 5%.
Yeah.
Well, let's, we do have to move along. If Kathy could get that information for us. It probably is just a clarification in the formula, and we could get that, then everybody will be satisfied, I think. Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason, under meals, two questions under meals. One, I'm sure you're budgeting for 2/3 or a full facility for the year. Is that where you budget your dollars for meals at?
I budgeted at 60 meals, on a session. I'll give you the,
Is that a 2/3 capacity or half capacity of your building?
it's you can hold 131 and I budget at, so it's about half. a
Okay,
little bit
thank
half.
you. Are employee meals included in that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and employee meals is a non-union item, it's just something that's provided for at the jail? Meals?
What do you mean a non-unit? It's not, I don't believe it's.
It's not part of a contract?
I don't believe it is,
Okay,
sir.
thank you. If I could follow up, vehicle expenses are doubling, can you tell me why doubling? I'm looking at 5,700 adopted budget last year, and we're doubling to $11,226.
I'm sorry, sir, say it.
Am I on the wrong line?
Under-
Under vehicle expenses,
078.
I'm looking at
73.
073.
You're gonna purchase a vehicle?
No, that was so we can install radio equipment in the cars. I can give you a breakout on what the,
Okay, that's all right, we could just get that to us, that'd be fine.
okay.
Going to equipment repairs, 10,500. Whenever this was done, we'd spent 6,000, had asked for 13. My question goes back to, and maybe it's shown under maintenance. If I remember right, a move was made to do a lot of the maintenance in-house, and that it was going to save us a lot of money than having all these contracts out there, people to come in and do work. Is that reflected in this, and why is that where it is?
Representative McConkey, we moved the service contracts from maintenance up to the 029 line.
Okay,
So you'll see a reduction in the 081 and then an increase in the 029. And that was done a couple of years ago. Maybe it was last year that we first started it.
okay, is that working out for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's just able to break those expenses out.
okay, thank you.
Uh,
Under photocopier expense, every department, sheriff's department, you, I'm sure the nursing home and everyone else, has there ever been a conversation between your department heads to at some point all own the same machines, have the same service contracts? I know it's difficult running just one department, but have you had any of those conversations? Because those costs keep climbing, and I'm assuming we all have different machines and different things.
We were looking to do that earlier this year, that just never got off the ground.
Okay,
But that was something that was talked about, it just didn't go anywhere.
thank you. And finally, Mr. Chairman, under new equipment, do you have a breakdown of what new equipment, the purchase, what that money's for?
I don't think that the chairman, that I personally have a breakout of what the new equipment is for.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, haven't we in the past repeatedly asked when we start the process that everyone forwards what their new equipment is? But again, once again this year, that hasn't been the case.
Do you have that, a list of new
I'm
equipment?
sorry, I didn't hear the question.
The delegation has asked for a number of years that at the beginning of this process, as the department heads come up with their budgets, that they provide us with what those equipment lists are,
That
so
has
that we
been
have
asked.
them ahead of time?
That has been asked for in the past, yes it has.
But
You
we
want it
don't-
again this year?
Yeah, I would assume that we'd get it every
Okay.
time. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Other questions on jail and House of Corrections?
I just have
Yes,
one quick thing.
Representative Pettingill.
My notes from the fall, I had that they were talking about doing an energy study, and I was wondering if we ever did follow through with the energy study.
As far as, we weren't really gonna participate in that because when we did the study, there wasn't a whole lot that they found in our building there. The county elected to consolidate with Consolidation Energy, I believe, it's through the New Hampshire Association of Counties for electricity purchase, and we have seen a savings in that, and I want to say it's somewhat, from just my facility, I want to say we saved anywhere between $800 and $1,000 as compared to the 2010 electrical expense.
Commissioner.
If I could try to answer that question, yes, we had some people come in that did an energy audit on all three buildings, not the new one, but the old one and this one. And we found that this one here, if we put money into it, and we put, I believe, $80,000 that was budgeted to change the lights over and to change the panel over so that we're not heating and air conditioning this building at the same time. And I will give a report on that when it comes up. We still need to put another unit up, some kind of a unit up on the roof, which is $2,000 or $3,000. Otherwise, we're going to be under budget.
Representative Pettingill, did that answer your question? Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah,
Wasn't cost effective to do the jail?
I had under it from the fall meeting that we had propane, Eastern propane use versus gallons, comparison, and then degree days, maintenance issues, and energy study, and I just wanted to know, I was trying to clarify what we'd
Okay.
gone through in the fall.
I'd be glad to share with you. It's a booklet. It's
Okay.
about that thick that has all three buildings.
Okay, great.
Yes, Representative Baldwin.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Representative Pettingill is referring to something that I was discussing in regard to what seems to be a fairly large increase in the heating expense of the jail over the course of time, and that we were focusing on the equipment at the jail to assure that it was all running properly, that there wasn't some sort of maintenance issue, and that we were basically trying to determine, based on the degree days,
Right.
if our actual use of propane has been increasing. That's what she's referring to, that we discussed about for the second time, because I brought it up before, about 6 months earlier, that to get in contact with our propane company to try to get an analyzation of what we're using in the propane in the jail from year to year to year.
The jail committee was charged with that 2 meetings ago, and they are supposed to come back with a report. In addition to the subcommittee on the jail, Representative McConkey was added to that specifically for the propane fuel oil study. Now, I have no idea what the jail subcommittee has done with that, because we wanted to look at, did it make sense to change vendors? Was there other ways that we could save money? And so whatever the jail subcommittee is supposed to have a report back to us for this budget, so that we can take appropriate action to determine whether or not we can reduce the cost. So I don't know what they've done or if they've done anything, but that was their charge. That was the meeting you were in.
Any other items that you wanted to call to our attention?
don't believe so, sir. You'll see, like, if we just kind of scan down, under the mental health, you'll see an increase of, in that specific line, 027. That's because we entered into a contractual agreement, we don't